Hey lovers, and welcome back to my channel. I am your girl CJ, but you can call me your subject matter expert, your hair subject matter expert, any day, anytime. I represent, right? I've missed you guys. So those of you who have stayed away because you were angry that I mixed things up, I hope you understand my place, okay? But then we're back, guys. So let's get this started. You remember your promises. You're going to have to like and share every single video I drop because I'm going to be sacrificing a lot to be able to do ventilating videos for you guys, okay? Now you see what I just did. When you take your net and you want to ventilate, the first thing you have to determine your middle part. How do you do that? Whatever length your net is, take your tape and measure it. Whatever length you have, divide in two, and you're going to have the mid part, right? So in this case, I have 2.4, so I just quickly marked 1.2 as my mid part, and then right now I am ventilating one on my left and one on my right on the same line. And you see that I also measured one inch inwards to determine where you should have as the excess part you want to cut out. Okay, so we're done with that, and we're going to be discussing density palettes. And on density palette we have three types of ventilation, and in these three types we have three different methods. I know it's a lot, but guys, calm down. We're going to take it one after the other. So we're going to start from the list, and this is the list. For a hair wig closure, this is the list. This is the list. You don't have time. You don't want to do the other rigorous ones. This is the list you should do. It is fast, okay? Right here, I'm using a treated braiding hair extension. If you're using a human hair, whatever it is you have, it is okay. Just follow instructions. Now, when I did the very first one on this line, you saw that I did double knots, right? But this is a braiding hair extension, and I don't have need for this closure, so I'm using a single knot, right? Now you just want to ventilate across your diagonal line because this is directional ventilation, otherwise known as diagonal ventilation. It is across a line facing just one direction. You cannot redirect it, right? That's why we call it directional ventilation. You want to keep that space when you're doing directional ventilation. Keep a space between the last one on your parting space and the one on the line. You're going to see what we're going to do with that. That's how you tweak things, yeah, to make things. And also remember, in my intro I talked about when to use one strand, when to use two, when to use three, and when to use four. But in most cases, four is usually too bulky, so we just want to stick with three. What we're doing right now, you're supposed to use four strands, yes, but four is going to be too bulky, so I reduced it to three. All right, so remember, we're using single knot because I don't have need for this, and it is also a braiding hair extension. Otherwise, if you want it to be durable, you don't want to use single knots. Okay, so I zoomed it in so you can see exactly what I'm doing. You're going to leave one line spacing and go to the next line, and under your line you have one whole spacing, and that's why you're supposed to use four strands, but we're going to end up using three strands, and somewhere around the front we're going to do a tweak. What we're doing right now is the easiest method of ventilation for beginners. This is what beginners can relate with. Notice that we are on the same line. Like, as I'm starting a new line, it is on the same line as others. I am not alternating, and that's why I said beginners can relate. Now let's go off camera, and this is the much we've done. So I'm going to take this to the front, and you're going to see the reason I kept these two lines. To keep things natural, you always need to know what to do. Okay, I made a mistake there, so let's take it off. Yeah, now that we're done, I'm going to slow things down. You want to turn around. You have two lines before your center line. What do you do with the two lines? You're going to ventilate two strands in a hole, and you're going to do two lines without, let me explain. You're going to ventilate two lines together, right? Two lines without any line in between, but you're going to maintain your one hole spacing. right? You can see we are doing the line 1, and you're not going to space one line before you get into the next line. It's going to be together.
You don't have anything, please.
That's how you want to create the natural illusion. You guys be patient. I'm going to take you through the different methods and their subtypes of ventilation. Remember your side of the game. You have to keep to it. Okay, so I hope I'm not confusing someone. So that's why I said this part, what I did here is the simplest method of ventilation because you have a guide. Now let's go a bit professional on the other wing for those who are professionals. We're going to do the same thing. We're ventilating across a diagonal line, otherwise known as directional ventilation. I'm going to take the line to the end and let's come back. Now that we're back, remember I said this is an upgrade of what we did before. We want to do alternating method of ventilation. This one will be for beginners. So if you're a beginner, stick to what's happening over there. If you're a professional, you don't want to do that because you don't want straight lines when you're ventilating. This thing is supposed to give the vibe your natural hair gives. You can never find your natural hair on a straight line, right? So if you're a ventilator, you call yourself a professional and you ventilate across a straight line, and each line can be traced from beginning to the end, and it is not for braided wig, then you're doing it wrong. But if you're a starter, it's okay, we can pardon you, okay? So that's why I said for a starter, stick to what we did before, but if you're a professional, stick to what we're doing now. Did you see that? So you're not starting at all points, you're not going to start on the same line, and it's all going to end on the same line. Look at where this one is ending. It's going to end one line before, and because we also started one line before. Can you see that? So when you pull it back, it's going to be in between. It's going to be falling in between what's happening behind. And also in front, that 2 line you kept on the other side is not going to be on a straight line, right? Now let me quickly show you something. Look at this. Look at how uneven the starting method is. That's for professionals. Let's see what's happening on the other side. It is on a straight line, right? So now you see how uneven the front is. If you know you're a beginner, don't try this. It's going to stress you out. It's going to stress your brain. I'm going to go in and feel whatever space I am seeing and all that. Yes. At this point, you're working with your intuition, not a guide, because no guide, you've already scattered things, so there's not going to be a guide. But let's see the result at the end of the day. So I'm going to have to slow down. On the other one, you just have 2 lines ventilated together. This one is going to be, some of them are going to be 2, while others are going to be 3. And that's why I said it's advanced. Is this not already giving? Beautiful, yeah. Imagine ventilating a full closure like this. It's beautiful, but then there are 2 more spacing methods, yeah, and there are alternate methods. Type next in the comment section if you cannot wait to see what's next. So for this diagonal or directional ventilation, it has a sub part. Yes. And that's what we're going to be doing next. And then when we go into another type of ventilation, we're going to do it, and then we're going to go into the sub part and the sub part, because each of them has 3 sub types. Yes, you guys, it's going to be a lot. So you see why I'm running away from ventilation. I can't teach you guys basics. If you're following me, you're a pro. If you're following me, just know that my aim is to make you a pro. We don't do basic over here, okay? Make sure to support me in all ways possible, so long as it is within your power. Okay, so at this point you can see that what I'm doing does not have a guide, and that's why I say if you know you're a learner, shift, this is not for you. So I'm going to go in and ventilate one more line to straighten things out, and you can see how natural it's going to look. And this is, when you're doing the diagonal ventilation, when you go all the way to the parting space, it gives this lining illusion that's not really nice in the eye. So that's why I came up with this method. In our next video, we're going to be looking at the sub parts of this, and then the video after that is going to be the yoga patapata of them all.
one strand in every hole. That ventilation method is not for the weak, and it's not for a client that cannot pay if you sell. And if it's for yourself, why the stress? Why don't you just keep to what is fast, finish and move on? If it scatters, you can do another one. You guys,
Make sure to comment, like, and share. Give me a thumbs up, it's very important. I will see you guys in my next one. I love you.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.